Hi everyone, Kenzie here and welcome to the first Bake Along for Saints Foundation's Big Saints Bake Off. Now today I'm going to be showing you how to make a basic recipe for both a Victoria sponge and basic cupcakes. So it's super simple, everyone can get involved with this, and of course most importantly it's so much fun to bake along with. So literally all you're going to need is 8 ounces of self-raising flour. You're going to need 8 ounces of unsalted butter or margarine, 8 ounces of caster sugar and 4 eggs. So all equal quantities. This makes a 2-tier cake or about 12 cupcakes. But if you want to be really extreme and make a 3-tier cake, you can go for it by making the quantities 12 ounces of everything and 6 eggs. So let's get started. As I said, this is so simple. Anyone can get involved with this one. And we're going to start with our sugar and our butter in the same bowl. And the first thing we're going to want to do is cream that all together. So I'm just going to get that going now. So you just want to work that in. We don't want to overwork our mixture, but we want a nice smooth mixture as well. We don't want any lumps. Now, if there are any bakers out there, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Obviously, this is for our wonderful Saints Foundation, so make sure you're getting involved, get the kids involved, get the neighbours involved, and see what you can come up with. As I said, this is a really basic recipe, but you can have fun with it. If you fancy adding a little bit of cocoa powder in there, you can do to make it a bit chocolatey. You can add a bit of vanilla extract to add a bit more of flavour in there. So just be creative and enjoy it. That is the most important thing. And of course, when it comes to the fun part, which is decorating, you can really go wild with your decoration. Maybe put some football spin on it, because remember, this is a competition. We are going to be judging your wonderful bakes. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you guys can do. So that sugar and butter has come together like so. Hopefully you can see that. It should be really nice and smooth. All of that sugar should be incorporated into the butter. And then we're just about ready for our eggs. So, as I said, we've got 4 eggs that need to go in here. So you can just break those in one at a time and then combine that into the mixture. So if there's a couple of you taking part in the bake along, you can share jobs. One of you can crack the eggs, another one can mix. There's lots of jobs to be shared around. Now we've also got our oven set to 180 degrees fan. So we're going to want those to be nice and hot by the time the cakes go into the oven. So if you haven't already done so, make sure that you set your oven to 180 degrees fan. So we're just going to get those eggs all incorporated into that mixture. A little bit of a workout on the biceps. And that should again come together nice and creamy mixture. And just keep mixing until all of those eggs are fully incorporated, because we want that to be nice and smooth before we add our final ingredient, which is our flour. Now, if you don't have self-raising flour, you can use plain flour. You just need to add a little bit of baking powder. I'm going for 8 ounces of self-raising flour here. There's always ways around things with baking. There's always something you can do. And I know it has been a little bit tough to get hold of some ingredients of late, so we'll work with whatever we've got. Right, so we're just about ready to add in our flour. So you should have a mixture that looks, something like that. Don't spill it like I have. We want that to go into our cake tins, not onto the surface. Nothing like making a bit of a mess. If you're anything like me in the kitchen, once you're finished and those cake goes in the oven, it looks like a bomb's hit it in here. It's a little bit messy. I'm not the tidiest chef, but that's okay. So next we're going to go ahead and add our flour. So you want to just do this a little bit at a time. So add maybe a third of the mixture in and give it a little mix. Now this is the point that we really don't want to over mix it, okay? Because we want to fully incorporate that flour. But by over mixing, you can kind of end up with a bit of a flat cake. We want to keep the air in our mixture, make sure we get a really lovely rise on those bakes. So we're going to use a technique called folding. So if you can kind of see that I'm folding the mixture around the bowl and almost sort of spooning the flour into that sugar and butter and egg mixture and just not over mixing. So it takes a bit more time doing this, but it just means that we're keeping those lovely air bubbles in our mixture. So keep on slowly adding that flour, and then it should start to come together and resemble cake batter. So as I said, this is the recipe for a basic Victoria sponge cake and also the basics for cupcakes. So the beauty of a very simple plain sponge is that you can kind of go crazy with what you do on the decoration side of things. Again, you can keep it nice and simple and just decorate with some strawberry jam and a bit of cream, maybe some buttercream for your cupcakes. Or you can get really crazy and maybe chuck some different flavours in there. And as I said earlier, you can maybe get a bit of a football theme going. That would be really great. But very much looking forward to seeing what you guys can do. I'm sure we've got many budding cooks out there. And of course, it's nice to do something with your friends and your family as well. Maybe you could kind of get a little competition going amongst the family. I know that that's probably going to cause a few arguments in the household, but it's nothing wrong with a bit of friendly rivalry. So guys, that's coming together, and I'm just going to get that final bit of flour into that mixture. So as I said earlier, it is a bit of a workout. It is quite hard work, but keep going, and you kind of get to the point where you can see that all of the mixture is combined. And as I said, you don't want any lumps. If you can see any flour, keep going, keep folding it in, keep working that mixture in. And you should have something that ends up like this. I'm going to show you now, but I'm going to try not to tip it out onto the side. So hopefully you can see that there. So a nice kind of smooth batter. And you should actually be able to see the air holes in it where you've kind of been folding it in and keeping that air in the mixture. Now, if you're making cupcakes, you just want to do the same process, but instead of dividing them between 2 sandwich tins, you're going to divide them between our muffin cases. So just a little bit of mixture in each muffin case. Remember that they do really rise, so you don't want to overfill these muffin cases. You want to give them some space to rise. Again, if you'd like to weigh these, you can. You really don't need to, especially not if you're going to be icing these, because you can't really tell if they're slightly different sizes under a bit of buttercream or icing. So filled up a couple of my muffin cases there, fill up a couple more. Now I'm actually using these silicone muffin cases here, but again, anything you have is absolutely perfect. Cupcakes are brilliant because if you've got lots of people, they're so great for sharing. You don't even need to slice up a cake or anything. And you can get really creative with cupcakes. So there we go. Once again, these are ready to bake, but of course these don't need to go in the oven for quite as long as our Victoria sponge. So these are going to go in again at 180 degrees fan, but for about 15 to 20 minutes. I tend to check on them after 15, depending on how much you filled them in each muffin case. So they are also ready for the oven. I'm going to check on those cupcakes in 15 minutes time. Okay, so our cupcakes are out of the oven. I've left them to cool for about 25 minutes because you want those to be fully cold before we start decorating them. So you will find a buttercream recipe on the download link. However, I have really struggled to find icing sugar. So if you're anything like me and also struggling, you can do what I'm about to do. All I'm going to do is whip up some double cream because this works perfectly. Obviously, you put that in a Victoria sponge cake and it also works really nicely on cupcakes as well. So if you're not able to follow the buttercream recipe we've provided for you, then just do what I'm doing here. So I'm literally just going to pour that double cream into the bowl. We'll scrape the sides to make sure we've got all of that in there. And then it is literally just a case of us whipping that up until it's nice and thick and we're able to pipe it on or spread it onto our cupcakes. So cover your ears, let's get whisking. Okay, so we are done. That is our double cream whisk. Now, the test for double cream or egg whites to check that they are fully whisked is to pour it on top of your head and check if it comes out or not. I'm a little bit nervous about doing this on camera. We'll see how it goes. Oh, okay, we're good. I thought it was going to fall out on top of me there. No, we're good. It is definitely done. So it is ready to go on top of our cupcakes. Now, if you want to add a bit of flavour here, you can pop in a bit of vanilla extract if you'd like to. Normally at this point, if I was working with cream, I'd add in some icing sugar. But as I said, I did struggle to get hold of some of that. Literally all I have is a tiny little bit in here to dust the cakes later on. So we're going to go straight on to decorate our cupcakes. So as you can see, they are all ready to go. Now this bit's up to you. I quite like to cut out a little circle in my cupcakes and pop a bit of jam inside just for that little added burst of flavour. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So literally just make a tiny little hole in the top of your cupcake, remove a bit of the sponge, and then just fill it with a little bit of jam. And again, this is completely optional, but it's quite a nice little surprise when you bite into a cupcake and you get that nice hit of jam. So I've popped my jam in there like so, and then I'm literally just going to pop that bit of cake that we took out right on top of it. So it is that simple. And I'm going to do the same with the other one as well. And of course you can fill this with anything. It doesn't have to be jam. I've seen people do this with a bit of Nutella. So again, get your creative juices flowing and you guys can do whatever it is that you fancy. So now we are ready to pipe our icing. Now, if you don't have a piping bag or you don't have a piping nozzle, it's not a problem whatsoever, because you can either use a palette knife to spread on your buttercream or your whipped cream, or you could even use maybe a sandwich bag, snip off the end and kind of pipe like that. So there's always ways of making do with whatever you have in the kitchen. But if you are going to attempt to pipe, a great tip is to pop your piping bag or your sandwich bag or whatever it is you're using over a glass like this. So when you come to put your buttercream or your whipped cream inside, it's just really easy and you're not getting messy all around the side of the piping bag. So I'm going to go ahead and put that cream into our piping bag. We can start piping, which is my favourite bit. And of course, I am showing you the most basic way to decorate both the cupcakes and a Victoria sponge, but we want you guys to get creative. So maybe you could use some colouring in your buttercream or in your whipped cream to maybe make a pattern on top of the cupcake. Maybe you could even make a little football on top. You can do so much with this. So have a little think about how you'd like to decorate this, because of course this is a competition. So you really are going to have to pull out a showstopper. Right, so that cream is ready to go. So you're just going to want to push that to the bottom of the piping bag. And then I'm not sure if I can show you how I'm going to do this. Now, normally I would use two hands to do this. Maybe I can pop the cupcake onto this cake tin so you guys can see what I'm doing. Now, you should have your nozzle kind of directly above the area you're piping on. And I'm just kind of going to start in the middle and do a little rosette around. But again, you can literally do whatever you like here. Oops. So that is what I've gone for, but you decorate however you like. This is all about getting creative, having a good time in the kitchen, and there we go. Now I like to finish off with maybe a little strawberry or something like that on top. But again, maybe you can get those thinking caps on and get a bit of a football theme going on, and find a way of making this Saints related. That would be extra impressive. But that is literally it, guys. That is my cupcakes. So I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. Remember, this is a competition, so make sure you're getting involved. All you need to do to enter is take a photo of your amazing bakes, send it in to us, upload it to social media, make sure you tag us, or you could send it to us on email. Just send it over to fundraising@saintsfoundation.co.uk and make sure you make a donation to the Saints Foundation Virgin Money giving page. Good luck!